Hello intellectuals, welcome to our channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss with you all about the definition of crime and its classification. There are no easy explanations for the phenomena collectively called crime. Crime may be associated in the public mind with pickpocketing, robberies, housebreakings and riots. But crime is also a businessman placing bribe to win a city contract. Therefore, trying to find a single comprehensive answer to the crime problem is like trying to lump together measles and schizophrenia or lung cancer and a broken leg. The concept of crime has always been dependent on public opinion. In fact, law itself reflects public opinion of the time. Obviously, every society formulates certain rules to regulate the behavior of its members. The violation of that behavior is forbidden. Law varies by time and by place. What is crime today was not a crime in the past. For example, practices like dowry, sati, child marriages were not crime in the past, but in the present scenario, they have been criminalized. What is crime in a place may not be a crime in some other place. For example, in some countries, same-sex marriages are legalized, but in the contrary, in many countries, the same has been not permitted legally. So, crime varies from place to place and time to time. Now, let us come to the definition of crime. The impermanent nature of crime makes it very difficult to derive at a precise definition of the term. In spite of attempts made by various jurists, a satisfactory definition of crime has not been achieved. Literal meaning of the word crime was originally taken from a Latin term crimen, which means to charge. The Greek expression krimos is synonymous to a Sanskrit word krama, which means social order. Therefore, in common parlance, the word crime is applied to those acts that go against social order and are worthy of serious condemnation. The Oxford English Dictionary defines crime as an act punishable by law, as forbidden by statute or injurious to public welfare. It is a very wide definition, including many things in the complex society of today. Any act like selling adulterated food, molestation of women or young children in buses and railways, misleading advertisements can be said to be injurious to public welfare. It is too wide definition and fails to precisely identify the thing it purports to define. Though there is no precise definition for crime, we can still have an understanding of the word by examining different definitions put forward by different jurists. The jurist Blackstone has defined crime as an act committed or omitted in violation of a public law, either forbidding or commanding it. Thus, according to Blackstone, crime is an act in violation of public law. The definition would thus cover only political crimes, namely crimes against the state and crimes like arbitrary deprivation of life, public liberty and property, leaving aside a vast area of other criminal behavior. Blackstone, perhaps visualizing the inadequacy of his first definition of crime, tried to give a modified definition and said, a crime is a violation of the public rights and duties due to the whole community, considered as a community in its social aggregate capacity. The second definition of Blackstone proceeds in terms of public rights and duties, replacing the phrase public law. According to another jurist, Terence Morris, crime is what society says is crime by establishing that an act is a violation of the criminal law. Without law, there can be no crime at all, although there may be moral resentment which results in law being enacted. According to Bentham, offences are whatever the legislature has prohibited for good or for bad reasons. According to Miller, crime is to be the commission or omission of an act which the law forbids or commands under pain of punishment to be imposed by the state by a proceeding in its own name. From the above definitions, it can be said that there is no constant definition of crime. Crime may be viewed from various perspectives with the definitions put forth by various jurists, criminologists, and sociologists from time to time. Also, due to the varying nature of the content of crime, all efforts to define crime with perfection have failed. In general view, crime refers to any act that violates a law, causing harm to an individual or a community. The existence of crime in a society is a challenge to its members due to its destructive effect on the ordered social growth. In fact, it leads to immense waste of human energy and an enormous economic loss. Therefore, a commonly acceptable classification of crimes and criminals for providing a rational basis of punishment for various categories of offenders is a need of an hour. There are a variety of crimes such as violent personal crimes, occasional property crimes, occupational crimes, political crimes, public order crimes, conventional crimes, organized crimes, professional crimes, white collar crimes, sexual crimes, crimes against property, person, decency, public order, etc. Broadly speaking, these may be categorized into three main heads, namely offences falling under Code of Criminal Procedure, offences under Indian Penal Code, and offences under local or special laws or enactments. As per Indian Penal Code, Section 40, any act or omission made punishable by IPC is an offence. So far, in this lecture, we have discussed the definitions of crime. But in IPC, offence is defined as a punishable act. There has always been a confusion about the difference between the terminologies crime and offense. So, whenever a wrongful act is committed, it is generally defined as crime. But when a crime is punishable by a particular statute, it becomes an offense. In the newly enacted Act, Bharathiya Nyaya Sanhita, offense is defined under Section 2, Subclause 24. Section 2N in the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, offense means any act or omission made punishable by any law for the time being in force. In the newly enacted Act, Bharathiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, the term offense is defined under Section 2, Subsection 1Q. Let us discuss about offences in a separate lecture in detail with relevant case laws, since in the BNS, the term offence has been elaborately discussed. Now, getting back to the classification of crimes, some writers have preferred to classify crimes into legal, political, economic, social, and miscellaneous crimes. First, legal crimes. They can be termed as traditional crimes. For example, theft, robbery, dacoity, rape, hurt, and rioting. Second, political offences. Those are motivated politically or committed in violation of the election laws or norms set out for the politicians in course of their political activities. Third, economic crimes. They include white-collar offences such as tax evasion, smuggling, prostitution, gambling, foreign exchange violations, etc. Fourth, social crimes. Those which are committed under social legislation such as Child Marriage Restraint Act, Protection of Civil Rights Act, Commission of Sati Prevention Act, the Dowry Prohibition Act, etc. All other remaining crimes which are committed under local or special acts are termed as miscellaneous crimes. For example, offences under the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, Drugs Act, Prevention of Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act, etc. More recently, a new species of crime known as cybercrime has emerged as a result of development of computer science and information technology during last quarter of the 20th century. These are crimes either computer-generated crime or where computer software is itself a target of crime. A special act called the Information Technology Act 2000 has been enacted to tackle these offences. Under the Indian Penal Code, various offences have been classified broadly on statistical basis. They are offences against person, property, offences relating to documents, offences against public tranquility and state, offences against person. These offences are provided for in Chapter 14 of the Code, spanning from Section 299, which deals with culpable homicide, to Section 377, which deals with unnatural offences. The chapter deals with all kinds of offences which can be committed against the human body, from the very lowest degree, that is simple hurt or assault, to the gravest ones, which include murder, kidnapping, and rape. Offences against property. These crimes are defined and punished under Chapter 17 and range from Section 378, which defines theft, to Section 462, which prescribes punishment for the offense of breaking upon an entrusted property. The offenses that are dealt with under this chapter include, among others, theft, extortion, robbery, dacoity, cheating, and forgery. Offenses relating to documents. Chapter 18 of the Indian Penal Code mentions offences relating to documents and property marks. They are covered from sections 463 to 489E of IPC. These include forgery, falsification of accounts, using forged documents or property marks, counterfeiting currency notes or banknotes, etc. Offences against public tranquility. The definitions and punishment for this category of offences are provided in Chapter 8, which ranges from Section 141 to 160. This chapter lays down the acts which are considered to be criminal in nature because they disturb and destroy public tranquility and order. This chapter includes offences like being a member of an unlawful assembly, rioting, and affray. Offences against state. Chapter 6, which deals with offences of this nature and includes Section 121 to 130, are some of the most rigorous penal provisions of the entire code. This includes the offence of waging war against the state under Section 121 and the much debated, criticized, and abused offence of sedition under Section 124A. The offence defined under this section has been much maligned, as it was used by the British to prosecute many freedom fighters. It has also been used post-independence to silence critics of the government and continues to date, which is why many experts advocate repealing the same. And in the present act, Bharathiya Nyaya Sanhita, the same has been repealed. This classification seems to be more rational and elaborate from the point of view of administration of criminal law and penal justice. I hope you all learned what is crime, the difference between crime and offense, and the classification of crime. In my next video, I'll come up with another important topic from IPC and BNS. Do follow the Courtroom Intellectuals for further lectures.